So here we have the new Ford Everest for 2019. This is a Everest Trend, so a mid-spec unit with the new engine, the 2-litre bi-turbo. So this is Ford's volume seller, and they reckon that most people are going to be buying this Trend model with this engine as well. So the biggest thing to talk about with this new Everest is no doubt the 2-litre motor. Bi-turbo, it's their new thing with a 10-speed transmission. So that gives you 157 kilowatts and 500 newton meters, which is definitely better than what it had before. And you can notice the increase in performance. It's definitely a better setup overall than it was. It's a bit zippier. The gearbox is actually really smooth, probably better than the 6-speed in terms of smoothness. And obviously having more ratios means your engine's in the sweet spot all the time. It's also a driveline that's a lot more refined than the old one. The old one, it was fine, maybe a little bit clattery, but this one is actually really quiet and very smooth. Even though it revs a lot harder than the old one, it uses up to 4,000 RPM to develop power and really push you along, but it never feels too unrefined or clattery. And driving along like right now, sitting, doing about 60 k's an hour on a dirt road, 1500 RPM, it's really quiet. Aside from being a benefit on-road, that 10-speed gearbox does give you a benefit off-road too, when you've got an actual low-range transfer case here that gives you effectively 20 forward gears to choose from. So first gear, you do use it on-road a bit, so it's not a full-on granny gear, but with a decent reduction in the transfer case, you should get a nice low range, low first for descents, slow climbs, and then you've got a nice spread of gears as well to choose from when you're doing different stuff off-road. There it is. So it's 2 litres, 500 newton meters, 2 turbos, 157 kilowatts. So it's definitely got more power, and you can feel it drives a lot better through those 10 gears. The gearbox does a really good job of getting the most out of this engine. Alternator's up pretty high there. Now, one interesting thing to note, this is the same as on the 3.2. This is the air intake here. Now, it doesn't go from the inner guard like others do. It will take air straight into the airbox there, into the turbos and whatever. So it actually sucks in through this front here. I'll show you. It'll go through the grille and then up through this bit here. And the way that the seals in this bonnet are, it will sort of seal up there, so it will kind of suck air from there through to there. So it's getting colder air, so it'll help performance and whatnot, but it's probably not that well protected against serious water crossings. You'd be wanting to fit a water bra to this, or obviously a snorkel would be the best option if you're going to be doing some decent four-wheel driving. That's going to be right in the way of dust as well, if you're traveling in convoy and whatnot, so just something to be conscious of. Probably not the best bush setup there. One thing to note on this 2-litre, there still is AdBlue, which, you know what, isn't a deal breaker completely, but if you wanted to do a lot of towing, you wanted to do really remote area stuff, it's just a bit of a pain in the ass. So if you jump underneath and have a look here, that's the AdBlue tank right there. So that's kind of in the firing line as well, something to be conscious of. It's pretty sturdy plastic, but plastic is plastic at the end of the day. I'm currently in a titanium model. It's pretty much the same deal as before. There's a few tweaks, a few changes here and there, but nothing super significant. It's still got Sync 3 here, this heads-up display with a speedo in the middle, and you've got 2 changeable little screens here, so you've got all the information you need. It's all really good. It works quite well. One place where the Everest definitely beats something like a Prado is this interior. It's modern, it's much smarter. All the touch points are really nice too. It does feel solidly bolted together overall. One interesting point in this one is the little gear selector thing here on the side of the shifter. It's almost like a little paddle almost. You can change gears up and down, and you can change the maximum gear you choose. Say if you're towing, you can lock the car out from 7th gear or something like that, so it stops trying to climb gears all the time. That'll help when you load it up and you're going up some big climbs. Take a bit of pressure off the gearbox. But we're just hitting the dirt here now. You can feel that suspension is a touch on the firm side, so it's a nice car to drive on road. There's not much body roll, but on the rough stuff it is a little bit less comfortable than, say, a Prado. But overall you'd probably prefer this drive because the Prado does feel quite boaty when you are on road.